Hey guys, good evening. It is John C. Morley here, Serial Entrepreneur. It's great to be with you on Inspirations for Your Life. Thanks so much for joining me. This is the last episode of our show one of series four. We'll be kicking into show number two tomorrow with a brand new master topic, which, as you know from the past, takes us from Saturday and ends on Friday, which is what tonight is. All right, everyone, if you haven't had a chance to go grab something delicious from the kitchen, why don't you go do that? Our master topic of the week is From Reflection to Mastery, Building Momentum for a Bold 2025. That's our weekly topic. And I'll tell you what the granular topic here is in just a second, because I know you're going to want to know what that is, and I'm happy to share it with you. It's a great one to end this wonderful week on, and it's Shine Bright, everyone, in 2025. Key resolutions for growth and connections. We're on, yes, series four, show one, and we're on episode number 7. So, welcome everyone. Welcome to the Inspirations for Your Life podcast, hosted by me, John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur, not only a podcast coach, but also a podcast host. And I'm going to dive into the world of personal growth, motivation, and how we can build a stronger connection. Whether you're aiming to build a higher career, level up your health or your relationships, this show is packed with strategies to help you create the best version of yourself in 2025. So tonight, I'm going to tackle, some of the essential resolutions to guide you through the year with purpose and passion. So let's get started. But before I do want to ask you, have you all taken the time to write out what your New Year's resolutions or promises are going to be? Because remember, I said to you, if you have failed to plan, then you have planned to fail. I don't want anybody to fail. So why don't you at least figure out what it is you want in your life and go from there? All right? All right, everyone. So let's just kick this off because I'm excited to wrap this week up with you guys. So number one is reflect and reset for 2025. As we step into 2025, it's essential to pause and take a moment to reflect on the lessons learned from the previous year. And this is that perfect time to reset your mindset, realign your passions, goals, your promises, and establish that fresh set of intentions for the year ahead. Now, remember, your intentions allow you to establish the behavior, and the behavior allows you to create those habits, and the habits will lead you toward your promised land, the promises. So think of it as pressing the reset button on life, right? I have a little device here, and I'm just going to press the reset button on it for just a moment, right? Just press that reset button on life, kind of like the reset button on your computer, right? It just gets you to just completely reboot, forgets everything, and it reboots. Um, so, with the right perspective, every setback becomes an opportunity for growth. See, when some people hear the word setback, they run to the hills thinking that there's a problem. Well, there's not really a problem. It's just you need to know how to handle the reset. And what does a reset mean in your life? It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing to do resets in your life. It's one of the best things you can do. But it does take some courage, and it does take some effort to do that. You don't just press a button, right? So, focusing on the contextual self personal development. Contextual really deals with the situation that you're in. So, growth is not a one size fits all journey, which you may or may not have found out so far. Contextual self personal development encourages you to tailor your progress to your unique circumstances. By understanding your environment and adapting, you can create strategies that resonate with your personal and your professional promises. And this way, you're not only improving, but you're evolving in ways that matter most to you. Now, I know that sounds like a lot, but as you do it more and more, you will find that it's something that you can do, ladies and gentlemen. It's something you definitely can do. All right. And I know what practice you'll do well with it. Number three, we want to build friendships and community connections. In 2025, make it a priority to nurture meaningful relationships, whether through joining groups, attending social events, or simply reaching out to old friends. Building a supportive network is crucial. Remember, the most impactful set of moments come from shared experiences. Start attending social gatherings like those organized by many great clubs to create lasting bonds that can enrich your life. So, when we think about these types of things, it's very important to understand, like, what this really means. And so, it means something pretty powerful. And so that means that you have the ability to grow and change your life. But I got to be honest with you, gentlemen, this is not like a one size fits all. Okay. Like I said to you, it does take some time, and there's some growing discomforts in there, right? I said practice getting comfortable being uncomfortable. Also, one thing hopefully many of you have learned in 2024 is that if somebody hasn't made room for you in their life, don't you try to make room for them in yours. If they don't have time for you, don't you make time for them, because if they don't see the importance, why should you have to convince them? Number four, create actionable resolutions. They're smart. Setting resolutions that are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. It's the key to success. In 2025, please make your promises crystal clear and break them down into manageable tasks. By focusing on measurable outcomes, you'll be able to track your progress and stay motivated throughout the year. And a good way to do this, one of the things I do is I have my promises written out for the year, but then I also do like weekly promises, and I reflect back on that. Leverage technology for allowing your progress tracking. And it's nothing complicated. You can use Excel, you can use um, a variety of things, but just allow things to check off. You can even use like a Google to do box where you just check off things, right? So, in today's digital world, we have a wealth of tools at our fingertips to help us stay on track. From productivity apps to promise setting platforms, technologies can enhance your progress and provide reminders when needed. This could be things like when you need to exercise, when you need to eat, when you need to study, etc. Use these tools to make your promises more achievable and keep your resolutions right in front and center. But I know that's hard for some people. So don't expect to do it all overnight. Do a little bit at a time, but be consistent with it. Prioritize holistic wellness. True success, ladies and gentlemen, comes when we prioritize all aspects of our well being: mental, physical, and emotional. Make 2025 the year you embrace a balanced lifestyle that nurtures both your body and your mind. Whether it's through fitness routines, meditation, or time spent with loved ones, holistic wellness is the foundation of a very fulfilling life. And there is never a better time to start than now. Lead by example and inspire others. Number seven, great leaders aren't just born, they're not born, they are made through consistent action, which happens because of the behaviors and the environments that they're in. So in 2025, focus on becoming a role model who inspires others with your growth and your resilience. Your actions speak louder than any words. And by demonstrating the values you wish to see in others, you can motivate that those around you, I should say, to rise to their potential. And I think another important one is to balance ambition with self compassion. This is not an easy one for a lot of people to understand, but it's one that I want you guys to definitely get. All right. Ambition fuels growth, but self compassion is what keeps us grounded. In 2025, aim to strike a balance between pushing for progress and giving yourself grace. When things don't go as planned, remember setbacks are a natural part of the journey. What matters is how you pick yourself back up and keep going. Use creative, engaging themes for events. This is really important. Bring fresh energy to your social and your professional gatherings by incorporating creative themes that spark excitement, whether it's a glow in the dark golf event or a themed hike. These events create opportunities for people to connect in a fun and a memorable way. Think outside the box to make your gathering stand out and leave lasting impressions. When you go to these types of events, you not only learn something about others, but you actually learn something about yourself. And so, this is sometimes the reason why people don't want to go, because you have to be open to learning. You might learn something like, gee, I want to change that. And you absolutely can. But remember, the key is being open to wanting to change that. That is a very, very important thing that I think a lot of people need to understand. Um, and you can do this. You can definitely, definitely, definitely do this. But again, it does not happen overnight, right? It does not happen overnight, and you will get better at it each day that you do it. So I think a big important thing, ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about balancing ambition with self-compassion, ambition fuels our growth, right? But self-compassion is what keeps us grounded. In 2025, I want you to aim to strike a balance between pushing for progress and giving yourself grace when things just don't go as planned. A wise person once said, Neville Goddard, that what we resist persists. So if we just kind of let things flow, they go a lot better, and sometimes they go better than we expected. So in 2025, aim to strike a balance between pushing for progress and giving yourself grace when things just don't go the way you expect. Remember, setbacks are a natural part of the journey. What makes it is you understanding how you pick yourself back up and keep going. We call that resilience. Now, many people expect to just step up to the plate or step up to the bowling line and be able to hit a strike. Now, some people may, and some people may not. But that doesn't mean that you should not learn from that and figure out what you should be doing. All right. That's a really important thing that many people, they just don't understand that. But I think it's really important to understand that. Number nine, use creative, engaging themes, as I mentioned to you. The engaging themes, as I said to you, will make the difference in your life. Number 10, make 2025 a transformative year. 2025 should be a year to embrace transformation, whether you're focusing on career growth, deepening relationships, or improving your health. This is the year to make lasting change. Set your intentions, because we all said your intentions actually allow the behaviors to continue. And when the behaviors continue, those are continuous, they actually allow you to get momentum, and the momentum allows you to achieve your promises you set for yourself. So set the intentions high, trust the process, and allow yourself to evolve into the best version of yourself. The transformation starts with a single step. A wise person once said to me, John, you can never begin any journey, no matter how short or long it is, without taking the first step. You can't finish a book until you've at least opened and read the first word, right? You can't make a new friendship until you've opened your heart, opened your mind. You can't learn a new skill until you give it your all. Again, being open to that opportunity. So, thinking about reflecting is a hard thing for many people, because they feel that if they reflect, they might be wrong. Well, when I say the word wrong, I don't mean that in a way to offend you. I mean that in a way that can empower you so that you can learn from that experience, which is what we've been talking about all week, right? We've been talking about how you can learn from the experience. So maybe you've learned something really great. It's important to learn the lesson. Now, Einstein said something, and I've said this before. The definition of insanity is doing the same things over and over again and expecting different results. So if you change what you're doing, the results should be different. Um, as we started the show before, we talked about pressing the reset button, right? When we press the reset button, that's like starting on a fresh slate. Now, do we forget everything we know? Not usually, but now we've like settled the scores back to zero. And what that means is that it's like we're starting off perfect. Now, I said life isn't perfect, but when we start with a fresh slate, that sometimes gives somebody a lot of motivation to want to work harder so they don't make a mistake. If you make one, that's fine. Just learn from the mistake, document it, and just don't make the mistake again. If you make it again and you haven't learned from it, well, then you need to learn the lesson. Don't hammer yourself into the ground because you made the mistake again. Maybe you just don't understand it. So go back and learn it. And then once you've learned it, then agree not to make the mistake. All right. So when we think about our lives, when we think about other people's lives, it can get complicated, can't it? Because many people want things their way and you want things your way. So there's something called a compromise. However, a lot of people don't want to compromise. Why? Well, it's something called ego, that thing that gets in the way sometimes. I found that people that have these big egos really are afraid of messing up. And they just don't understand that it's actually better to be imperfect and learn each time than to be perfect. Because if you're perfect, you never learn anything. All right. You never learn anything. To build a friendship, whether it's platonic or non platonic or just a community connection, um, it takes nurturing, doesn't it? Like I said, you can join groups, you can attend functions or events, and hopefully you can find some commonalities. When you get those commonalities, it's what'll propel you forward to either keep coming to the group or to keep a conversation going. For example, I go to an event and there's a gentleman at the event and I'd like to make friends, right? So one of the things I typically will do is do what Dale Carnegie always told me, which is to strive to become genuinely interested in the other person. I don't matter, they matter. So I listen. I listen what they like. I listen to see if there is a comment. I just kind of listen. I'll get my chance to talk. And the most important thing is to show that genuine interest, not to be overbearing. I mean, I'm sure you've seen this before, and it can happen sometimes because we all get nervous and we all want to put on that image sometimes because we want it to be perfect. But the thing is, we don't need to be perfect. So, how do you move forward with that? I think it's just accepting imperfection. And I know that's hard for a lot of people, but accepting imperfection means that you can learn and that you can move forward. All right. So when you support each other, when you have a commonality, you can generally talk to each other more, right? Maybe you both like fishing, or maybe you both like a certain subject. You can talk about that subject. Maybe it's politics, doesn't have to be, whatever it is. And so you can talk about that. And then that gives you a reason to want to hang out again or to do something because you explore that mutual common interest. I mean, that's just a really cool thing. But many people want to be the kingpin. They want to be the leader. Like they don't want to just sit back and allow things to come to them. Could be because of their upbringing. A lot of competitive people are like this. And there's nothing wrong with being competitive. The challenge comes when your competitiveness gets in the way of you allowing other people to share their individuality because you're trying to mask them with everything you are. And that's just not a great recipe for life. In fact, it might seem to work, but then the person's going to get tired of you. And guess what? They're going to want to leave because everything they do is going to be about you and it's not really going to be about them. I think that's a key one. So when we create actionable resolutions, whether it's 2025 or in a year, we want to think about SMART, right? Something that is very specific. We want to talk about something that is measurable, okay? We want something that is achievable. We want something that is relevant to who we are. And we want something that is time bound. So we set a time, right? In 2025, it's important to get crystal clear and break down into small, manageable units or tasks what it is you want to do. So, for example, let's say that you wanted to plan a surprise party for a friend of yours. Maybe he or she was turning 21 and you wanted to plan a surprise party. Well, there's so many things to think about. Well, the first thing maybe you would break it down into is, figuring out, first of all, what kind of party you're going to have. Maybe this person likes rodeos, so you decide that you're going to do a rodeo show. Afterwards, everybody can go riding if they want, and then you have some. Maybe you have a restaurant right there that there's a restaurant you can eat, and then maybe after the ride they come back, they have cake or something like that. So you could do that. So you come up with some high level ideas, right? After you have done that, this is just a very basic to the type of event. You might get one or two people to help you if you want. You might figure, well, gee, who am I going to invite? So then you got to break down how's the invitation process going to go, right? So now you've got like kind of the event, you've got the invitation, like who you're going to invite. Maybe you're going to go to, okay, so now I know the kind of event. Now I need to research venues there's 3 or 4 venues, let's say in my county that have let's say horse riding and do horse riding parties. So now that you've done that, you've also got to come in on a date. You got to find a couple dates that you want. Then you got to go there and you got to agree the date. You've got to figure out how many people you're going to invite to the party. So this is all kind of loose, but you have some details. So now that you have the idea of it, first of all, is there a budget that you're needing to stay within? So now you're there. Maybe you find out the dates, you find out the time. Have they done any parties like this before? What do they recommend? They might say, gee, we recommend a pinata, we recommended this, we recommend a DJ, we have some people we can refer you to. So you might want to check them out and get a couple estimates, right? You never want to just take one answer from somebody. You want to make sure, because maybe that person is not the best value, the best deal, right? Another thing that you're going to want to do is you might want to think about favors. Is everybody going to get favors when they leave? So then you might have to think about, is there a program that you're going to put together? You also may need to think about, let's say you're doing this on a Saturday afternoon and you know that your best friend usually is hanging around. Maybe they're hanging with you. So how do you take care of that? Maybe you have their family help out. Maybe you ask his father to, maybe take him somewhere. You know, has he ever taken him on a trip? So maybe he agrees to take him somewhere. Maybe they go skeet shooting or something because they've done it in the past. And so you talk about that. You say, yeah, I could ask you to do that. We haven't done that in a while. We should do that, or we can go fishing. So that kind of seems legitimate. You typically can do it on the birthday, or you can do it like the day. You can do it before the birthday, so they won't be so suspective. Usually before it is good, because if you do it on the day, people are usually very, very they're ear to the wall about everything, and I think that could be a big problem. Ladies and gentlemen, I am John C. Morley. I know you know that, and I want you guys to understand that you know doing these things in life is not hard, but taking this step, taking this action. So now you've gotten to plan this party. You're sending out invitations. So these are all mini micro tasks. And the party might be in 6 months. So you might say, gee, each week I'm going to tackle one task. And so that's not a lot. The most important thing is the type of party. Then you've secured the venue because that takes time, the budget, and then, what's the party going to be like? Are you ordering a cake? Like, what's going to really go on? And so you took something very complicated, planning a party, and spread it over several months, which will probably knock down a couple months, all because you broke into smaller tasks. And you can do this with anything in life. And then when you learn to leverage technology, well, you can make everything even easier, because now you can automate even sending out cards, and let's say printing out the labels. You don't have to go crazy handwriting. So there's a lot of things you can do. I hope that you understand that 2025 should be a year for you that you can make a difference. But as I said before, failing to plan is planning to fail. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that you just need to get serious about where you want to go in life. You might say, gee, I'll go wherever. Well, going wherever doesn't mean anything. And so I think when we talk about passions, when we talk about promises, goals, whatever you want to call them, I think it's important to make sure you set them based on you and based on what you want, not what somebody else wants. This is really, really important because a lot of people don't get that fact. And if you don't get that fact, ladies and gentlemen, well, then you might have a challenge understanding a big thing. And that is, how do I do what I really want to do? So, planning a party might be something you really want to do in your heart, right? Because that's what you want to do it. You like the person, you're good friends with them. But maybe something else, like maybe it's losing weight, or maybe it's staying healthier, right? Not really hard to do. Ladies and gentlemen, I really enjoyed helping you guys get ready for 2025 and keep doing this, ladies and gentlemen, because it doesn't end just because the first week's over. You can keep tweaking your goals, keep going back like I do. Have yourself a fantastic rest of your night. And I'm going to catch you when? Of course, tomorrow with a brand new master topic. Have a great one, everyone.